What's up, people? So it's been an interesting 24 hours, and I've had a lot of time to think in regards to, or I've been thinking a lot in regards to obviously what transpired at the Capitol yesterday. And I think the saddest event, or the saddest thing that happened yesterday, was the young single mother getting shot and killed, Ashley Babbitt, if that's how you say her last name. But just I'm going to get this out of the way. You know what? You show up to these types of things just as the left would do in their BLM, BLM protests, and then all those protests, police protests, and things like that, where people got hurt. The same thing is going to happen on the other side, and so you kind of, I hate saying it, but you kind of reap what you sow in terms of what you're getting yourself into, and so. It's sad, it's tragic, just as it is anyone who unjustly gets shot and killed by police. It's sad and it's tragic, but I don't know how unjust this shooting is necessarily. I know there's a lot of finger pointing going back and forth between conservatives and people on the right going, hey, I know, well, on the left, they did this, and then the left is like, oh, they did this, and so there's a lot of back and forth. You're in the Capitol, you just breached security, you just breached all the barriers, and now you just broke a window and you're up in the window when you have literally police officers and diplomatic security and Secret Service pointing weapons at you, and have guns drawn, and you still are trying, like, use your head, people. And so it's tragic, it's sad, but I don't think it was unjust, because you don't know what she had in her backpack. You know nothing about this person. You get to learn about them after the fact. Just like whenever most right-wing conservatives and whatnot will try and justify police shooting by saying, well, it was a criminal. Well, if the shooting in the event that it happened was unjust, then it doesn't matter who that person was, because they deserve due process. However, if what caused the event or the shooting to happen was because of self-defense or defense of others, then yeah, they deserved it. So anyway, that's out of the way. But with the whole, what the Trump thing and all that kind of stuff, holding a rally in DC and whatnot, everyone knows that within those protests and within those crowds are paid protesters, it's been proven over and over and over again. I'm not saying they're the sole cause of everything that happened. I'm saying they were there to add fuel to the fire that was already a heated and emotional situation, because you have one political body base, millions throughout the country, and thousands in one spot who are on edge, who are pissed off because they feel that their country is being stolen from them, and no one will even listen to the fact that an election may have been stolen, after the other side bitched and moaned for 4 years over shit that didn't exist. And so it's almost damned if you do, damned if you don't. The right is going to be demonized no matter what. No matter what they do. It's happened for the last 4 years. No matter what they did, they were demonized by the media and by the left. All while the left was burning down cities, beating people up, random acts of violence, punching people in the head, hitting them with stuff, just killing people, putting people in the hospital and things like that. And then they would hide behind, oh, well, these were unjust. We were protesting police shootings. And so until that stops, this is going to continue. And then you had Democratic politicians not calling for an end to that violence, and not calling for people to simmer down, but saying, oh, they're just practicing their free speech. They're practicing their ability to protest. Well, at least finally now people will hear them. And everyone, they essentially were condoning those protests, essentially. No one came out. Not one of those politicians had their social media accounts suspended. And you had cities burning, like Portland and Minneapolis, burning to the ground. Businesses burned. People burned out of their livelihoods. People killed. all sorts of random acts of violence, all because of that. People in the streets causing destruction to personal property. And yet, last night or yesterday, I saw not one building on fire. All you saw were a couple broken windows, and unfortunately, a girl who got shot and killed. Rightfully so, in terms of a police officer carrying and upholding his duty to protect those within the Capitol. But you didn't see anything else. The steps of the Capitol and the Capitol building itself, everyone was cleared out of there within 4 hours. Where you had Portland and Minneapolis that went on for days, if not weeks. So that's where the frustration is. The frustration is real. Now, I am not a Republican. I left that party sometime a couple years ago because I don't believe they stand up for all politicians right now. Both sides are corrupt, evil pieces of absolute shit. There is not one good one. I don't care. Even Dan Crenshaw, in my mind, he fell victim to the establishment of. I'll put it this way: when you have finally written a book, you're a politician. You've written a book. That means you're all about the money. You're all about the money at that point. No one was fighting for. No one was fighting for the evidence to be heard for this contested election from the GOP. They didn't give a shit because again, they get to go home to their cush homes and they're making their tens of thousands of dollars a month or more. They're making their millions a year if it's some, and they don't give a shit. And so of course the people are pissed off finally. So with the people being pissed off, this yesterday I was not cheering it on in terms of I did not want that to happen. No one ever, I don't think anyone ever truly wishes for violence, but sometimes violence, just as those on the left will say, but sometimes violence is the only way to get people, violence causes silence. And what that means is you get people to shut the fuck up. And then now you can talk and now they'll listen. Right now the left is doing the whole fingers in the ears going blah, 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 blah. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. All while the right and all those Trump supporters and everyone else. I mean, you have millions of people, tens of millions of people in the country, that support Trump. And they're saying, we want to be heard. We want to be heard. We want to be heard. And people were just fingers in their ears. La 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 la, all while hypocritically pointing a finger and saying, look how violent the right is. And so now you know it's going to happen. The left is going to utilize this and exaggerate the absolute hell out of this to to further their point. So you can't be surprised. Is anyone surprised with this? No. So I just look at it like you knew what to expect. Everyone who was supporting all this, you thought that you would be heard. And the joke of it is for how many years now have you thought that you would be heard, that your collective voice would be heard? The system is corrupt. The system is messed up. The system doesn't work anymore, and it needs fixing. And the most corrupt people in this country are the ones running that system. And those are called politicians. And if you keep voting those same politicians into office, the same shit's going to obviously continue. So the system is broken. It needs a new system. So by last night, what I'm getting at is with everything that happened, they already went so far. All chips were in at that point. They went all in. So why turn back? Look what happened. Like I was putting it up yesterday. 19 April 1775, Boston Tea Party, essentially the Stamp Act. You're seeing people people were like saying, hey, we don't want to be governed this way, and people stood up and it began. And so maybe this is an event that sparks into something bigger. Maybe it doesn't. My money is it just fades away because that's what normally happens, because everybody loves their cush little life. They want to be able to go home and lay in bed and watch their Netflix and be distracted by those forms of entertainment while they're comfortable, while your little precious little freedoms are kind of chipped away at and taken away. You get to be at home, warm in your cozy little hole that you live in, and just be comfortable. And you get to go about your life. And as long as you're not inconvenienced, you know, then you truly don't give a shit. The ones who actually don't care about that, those are the ones who truly would make a difference in this country. But unfortunately, those people are demonized. So if, if you're just an armchair quarterback saying, you saw a shit ton of them yesterday, especially politicians, but you saw a shit ton of them yesterday, who were like, I'm going to fight, I'm going to fight. And then they were like, never mind, And so this country is full of pretentious people, and it's full of just fake ass people. So this country will never change. It'll keep getting more and more corrupt. Everything will be perpetuated until there's no more fake people, until there's a majority of people who are so sick of it, and you've had so much taken away. But I fear by that time, it's already too late, but I feel by that time it's just going to be that much more too late, if you can say that. So we're close to having all hopes lost type of thing, but I don't know. But anyway, yesterday I saw just a little glimmer of a potential of people finally standing up to freedom, to finally making their voices absolute, like demanding that their voices be heard, taking things back. We are the employer, they are the employee. If they don't want to listen, then you get rid of them. If they're not going to do what you hired them to do, then you get rid of them. And you saw that finally yesterday, because you take a people that you have beat down for 4 years and almost picked on like a bully, all while they're playing by the rules and you're not. And they were just hoping that your rule following would get noticed, and it never did. And in the end, the cheaters still win the game. You're pissed. But at that point, you've allowed them to succeed and gain so much power through that cheating, that by the time you're finally ready to do something about it, they've grown too strong. They've been pumping those steroids into themselves, cheating the system for so long, that finally you've been playing by the rules, and now you're ready to fight back. But it's grown into a monster by now that you can't defeat. And so that's what I feel. I feel like we've let it grow into this doomsday style monster that can't be beaten, that will ever evolve. To every attack that you try on it, it'll just learn how to evolve and fight against it and beat you. And I just fear that it's grown too big. So if I were Texas, I still have property in Texas, I would secede. I'd get the fuck out. But that's if I were Texas. And if there are other states that had the balls, I'd follow suit, in my opinion. But when you got gentlemen like Duh Radio, love you, brother. But you got a few others, a fellow TACP brother of mine who I won't say his name, but he knows who he is. Retired, good guy. Just a little lost in his views of the way in which he thinks this country should run. He thinks it should be status quo and continue on the path that it's on, and things like that. And I think even if you're a Democrat, a blue bleeding Democrat, I think you too can look at Biden and say, this guy isn't right, and Kamala, not even her, but your hate for Trump fueled your support for them. But I think we all collectively can agree that we need better elected leaders for this country, regardless of what side you're on. We're letting agendas and objectives dictate our feelings and how we feel about one another, and they're just laughing. They're just laughing their asses off while we fight amongst ourselves. I think a new party needs to be created, a new political party. I just call it like the, whatever the fuck you want to call it, the new Republican Party, or you could just call it, shit. It doesn't even need the party that has no name, something like that. I don't know, but the party that needs no name, party of one, What the fuck. But anyway, those are my thoughts. So I'm sure I'll have more. I'm sure I'm gonna wish I would have put more into this video. It's already gone 15 fucking minutes, Jesus. But yeah, this is my rant. So anyway, hey, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. So we'll 2021 people. Let's see what we are in store for.